Hey guys, welcome to episode number 8 of Speak Audibly's 100% Me podcast. It's your host, Mike Wilson. Before we get into today's episode, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure you go ahead and smash the notification bell while you're at it. That way you know anytime we release a new video. But without further ado, we're going to be with Kyle Sullivan. He's the owner and founder of LeadTeamsBetter.com. He's been a part of some great teams. He leads an amazing organization. So let's jump right in. Hey guys, welcome to SpeakAudibly.com. My name is Mike B. And I'm here with my son. We're playing at the dog park here. It's amazing. Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. I'm on here with my friend, my brother, Kyle Sullivan. Kyle, how are you today, man?
Mike, I am doing fantastic, and this is just so cool to have this conversation today.
Yes, dude, no, I'm excited. This is one I've really been excited for, man. I've been following you and watching you and seeing what you've been doing over on LinkedIn, reading some of your articles and stuff, and I'm incredibly intrigued about just some of the stuff that we'll talk about today. But before we get in there, just tell the audience a little bit more about who you are, family, what you do, brother.
Yeah, so as Mike said, my name is Kyle Sullivan. I have been married for 7 years this June. Have known, I set eyes on my wife May 15th, 2010. And I've been hooked ever since, man. It's been incredible. We have a 7-month-old little girl named Piper Grace. And she started crawling last week, so my world is turned upside down. I now have to keep up with the little one, not just say, "Oh, it's right where I left her." So it's incredible. I'm in full-time ministry at a church out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, called Transformation Church, and also do leadership and personal coaching on the side with what I call LeadTeamsBetter.com.
Awesome. So founder of LeadTeamsBetter.com. Man, I just want to tell you, I met Kyle, guys, about almost 8 years ago now, and which is crazy.
Right.
But one of the things that you told me way back then, I believe you had just come out of kind of like a department stores where you were working at, and you were like, man, one of the things that I live by is I go for no. I go for no. And I was just like, go for no. Like, that's an interesting concept, and it's kind of always rattled around. And now that here I am, doing the coaching thing, coaching businesses and such, I'm like, wow, I never knew how much that advice that you lived by almost 8 years ago still affects me today. And thank you for that, man, because it was pivotal for me. It was pivotal.
Wow, that's incredible to hear, dude. And shout out to the Buckle for teaching me that.
There you go. Well, man, I mean, going for no is definitely a mindset. It's something that it's a skill that you continue to sharpen, because if you're not, it can be scary to go for no. And
Absolutely.
all that mindset, being that you are the founder of LeadTeamsBetter.com, why do you feel mindset is important, and is it important to you?
Yeah, it's the basis and start of everything significant or destructive in our life. And so what I tell people all the time, whatever you look for, you'll find. So our mindset, our vision, our lens in which we see the world all ties to the thing between our ears. And so mindset being so important of going for no, or even not saying no for people. That's kind of how it's evolved over time, is especially in business or ministry or any kind of industry where you're interacting with people. You could have this like amazing product, service, offer, ministry, business thing, whatever it is. If you don't tell people about it,
right,
they're never going to know. So it's just saying, like, the mindset is so important, because sometimes we have to make sure that we believe it so that we can make others certain that it will improve and help their life.
Wow. No, that's good, bro. That's good. It's kind of like, I'm also a licensed realtor, and they say, like, it could be a great business, but it makes a horrible hobby. So if you have this product that no one knows about, you have all these paperweights if you have a product or this service that never gets out to actually impact a person. That's big, man. That's big. Right. And so I actually spoke about that same thing in my book 100% Me Mentally. Shout out to the book, shameless plug there. But
Come on.
but it's so crazy because we align on that. I mean, what you look for, you will find. And that leads me to positivity. When it comes to being positive, the environments that we are around, are the people that we're around, and in those environments, how important does that, or what kind of effect does that have on our mindset?
Oh my gosh, it's everything. I mean, we both worked at Life Church for a season, and Pastor Craig would say, "Show me your friends, I'll show you your future."
Yeah.
So, who we hang around, the things we listen to, the things we consume, the even the places we go when we can go places.
Right.
Shout out to Auntie Rona for
Rona, Rona.
grounding all of us. But it all environment is so important. Like even how we work. Like right now, I have a candle on my desk. Why? Because I like the ambience of it. The environment makes it to where it's more conducive for focus or work or whatever. And so our environments that we create in our businesses, in our own lives, in our heads, in our hearts, our minds, our spirits, um, it's paramount. So we have to think the right things. We have to put ourselves in the right places, and it will get the right result.
Wow. I mean, I was going to ask you, but I mean, that sounds a lot like an intentional perspective.
Yes. Yeah. And man, our how we, like I said in the beginning, how we view the world, our perspective on things. My grandma would always tell me when I was growing up, honey, I mean, I'm from Louisiana. And so, like,
Okay.
she said, honey, you can get glad in the same pants you got mad in.
Wow.
And it's just like, it's such a
Come on.
Southern grandma type of thing.
Yeah.
But our perspective is, I could be really frustrated right now about something. But if I pivot and shift my perspective to go, man, I'm really frustrated. Why? Is it something in me? Or is it really a bad or frustrating situation? What can I learn from it?
Wow.
What, like John Maxwell talks about, there's wins and learns. Like,
Exactly.
what are the things that even in frustration or even in winning, what can we learn from it? It's all for our benefit. Um,
Wow.
Obviously, we were both in ministry for a while. I'm still in ministry. Like, I think about the scripture of like, God works all things together for
Yeah.
those who love him and are called according to his purpose. And I know you probably have people that love Jesus and don't love Jesus that have the podcast, but that for me is perspective that makes me go, okay, I may not like this right now, but there's something to learn in it.
Yeah. No, man, that's key. And even in some of the business owners that I coach, I mean, we allow our circumstances to be the thing that guide how we see everything else. It becomes the lens.
Yep.
And that intentional perspective brings you back, right? It says, hold on, pump the brakes.
Right.
So, I mean, for most of you guys who are watching this, I hope you just caught some incredible value just in that little segment right there. Because right now, there's so many people who have a voice. There's so many people throwing their opinions into the game, and Rona is making me think this way, or the government's doing this and all this. If you aren't intentional about your perspective, listen to what this man is saying. So, when we talk about perspective and we talk about positivity and the mindset, something that's been going on for some time now has just been this concept of law of attraction. And I don't have very many guests on here that I can throw this one at, but I really want to know, like, being someone who has and leads people on mindset, how important, or is it even a thing when it comes to law of attraction? Is that real?
Yes. And for me,
Sure.
so it is so crazy that we're talking about this because really it's been over the last like 3 or 4 months that I have really started to dive into this, where literally being able to think things into existence. And I think it was Brene Brown or Mel Robbins that did something that was talking about the science of our brain.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm gonna get kind of heady here, but I've been nerding out on this.
Come on.
When we think about something, our body, our mind, our spirit doesn't know the difference between reality and make believe.
Right.
So when we focus ourselves and we start to think about who we want to become, where we want to be, what we want to have or attract, there's something that happens when we're all energy moving through this in
Mm,
various forms. I truly believe that it is something that you can start to attract those things that people would call coincidence, people
right.
would call a lucky break, people would call the right
Wow.
connections, people would call the right network, people would call the right mastermind, the right course, the right whatever. Well, how did you find out about that thing?
Yeah.
What were you putting your mind on? What were you putting your energy into? And it's always so funny when people are like, I don't know how this happened,
Right.
good, bad, or indifference. It's like, in a few questions, I'm pretty sure we can get to
Wait.
this is what you are
Yeah.
have been consumed with. And
Yeah.
so I definitely think it's a thing. And especially in ministry circles, it could get real dicey because it's very like new agey. But
Right.
I look at my life through a Christian viewpoint.
For sure.
And so I tie law of attraction to ask and it will be given to you. Knock and the door will be open.
Right.
Seek and you will find. That's the gospels.
Come on.
That's Bible. This is just a world's way of saying you can have what you want in life.
There you go. There you go. I mean, Solomon himself said it, right? There's nothing new under the sun. It's like, yo, we're walking in this thing. Like we
Right.
just I think nowadays we try to quantify everything by giving it a title, right? Putting it
Yep.
in a box that seems more understandable. And so, no, that's great, man. So with your company, I'm sure when you are talking about leading teams better, you're all about leadership. And I was looking at your website, which we will link down below, guys. So for you, as you are watching, are like, wow, I'm really interested about this dude. We'll link all of his information down there. But when it comes to millennials and these Gen Zers, right? You hear this, I think, just about any podcast I listen to with anyone older than us.
Right.
This topic comes up like, oh, they're lazy, oh, they're this, oh, they're that, and then you have people either on one side over here, or way over here. There's no middle ground with this thing. When it comes
Right.
to those individuals leading millennials and Gen Zers, what's important to a millennial?
Well, I can speak for this millennial.
Come on,
It's it's we want to make a difference. Like you would say, oh, millennials are lazy, though they will protest and picket and gather for a cause.
oh,
So, where past generations, what was really important was very concrete data. It was start at the bottom, work your way up. Well, we were really the first generation to almost fully be technology based. Everybody can be an influencer with the click of a button on your Instagram. Like
yeah,
that's the world we live in,
yeah.
where you have to capture our heart before you capture our action.
Come on,
And so when
on.
you talk about like millennials and especially Gen Z, I think Gen Z has like a high BS meter.
Yeah,
Like if they're getting sold to you can sense it. um and really it's how do you package and position the energy that they have, because
wow.
no one is lazy. They may be lazy about the things that are important to you.
Right. Come on. Whew.
And
Wow.
so because everybody feels the same 24 hours in a day.
Yeah, yeah.
So when you're working with people, especially older leaders to younger leaders and vice versa, you got to understand that they're not like people are not unmotivated. They're
Right.
just not motivated by the same things you are.
Come on.
And so you have to be able to capture their heart. You got to be able to cast a compelling vision that they see themselves in,
Right.
because you can have the greatest vision in the world, but if they don't feel like they can push it forward, peace out.
Come on. That's it.
And so when you're leading these, and I really think it was probably the same for the boomers and the Xers back like that are older. They like the more time you're away from a feeling, the less you remember what that felt like. And so
Exactly. Come on.
everything is cyclical.
Yep.
So I'm pretty sure whatever was called before the baby boomers, they thought the baby boomers were the worst generation ever. And
Right.
at the end of the day, all this conflict, like yeah, we have things that our culture influences us and what we grow up around influences us and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, it's an expectation gap. That's what
Yeah.
all conflict is based out of. And
Yeah.
so you have younger leaders that say, I could do that. I could do that better. I can, and maybe there's a little bit of pride in all up and comers because there's this drive to hustle and achieve and
Right.
all of this stuff and prove their worth. And maybe we got to just slow down and listen to the wisdom of older generations. And older generations need to let people run.
There
And
you
so
go.
it's not one way or the other. It's we got to be better together.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, man. No, that's key, bro. I mean, that right there, what you said, that no one's lazy. They just maybe not motivated to the thing that you. Oh my goodness, that's beautiful. If I could communicate that to every one of my clients, I deal a lot right now with logistics and couriers. So they have all these drivers, and a lot of them are millennials, and they're like, man, they're
Mm,
unmotivated. And I have the same conversation, but that was key. It's not that they're unmotivated. Like what part of that vision do they feel is a catalyst to where they're trying to go, and that's beautiful. So how could these individuals, these millennials, these Gen Zers take a company, take an organization to the next level?
I think listening to listening to the ideas they have and saying wow before how.
Mm,
So
wow.
that's not original to me. Andy Stanley said that years
Come
ago.
on.
I listened to it in a podcast.
Yeah.
But he said when because his kids were are millennials, and so his kids would come with a lot of ideas, and he said I would howl them to death. Well, how are you going to do this? How are you going to pay for this? How are you going to scale this? How are you going
Yeah.
like? But instead of going like, wow, tell me more about that. So how can millennials and Gen Zers take companies and grow them? It's it's through trial and error. It's like this is the
Yeah.
time of our lives where I mean, you got to have a little bit figured out. Like you can't be totally reckless,
Right. Right.
but you got to be able to take risk.
Yeah.
And sometimes how you see all of these influencers blowing up is authenticity trumps polish.
Come on. Yes, sir.
And so if somebody, because we talked about earlier, like how society today, especially younger generations, have a BS meter that's like, nah, that's fake. You're trying to sell me. You're trying to
Yeah.
whatever me. Um, if you can help them take risk within some bumpers, I think you'll really start to see people. I mean, it's incredible. Like with Transformation Church, I think the average age is probably in late 20s.
Wow. Wow.
And it is, man, let's just try stuff. I think that's the beauty of younger generations is we haven't been we haven't been beat up by the world enough to think that we still can't do stuff.
Come on. That's good.
Because
That's
I
good.
think what gets a lot of people um, that get frustrated with younger generations from older, or people that have just older could be more experienced or whatever, is we project our own failures on the younger generation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we can say, you know what, instead of projecting, well, it didn't work for me, so surely it can't work for you. What if we say, hey, here's some potholes in this road. I'm
Right.
not saying you can't take your car of choice on this road, but
Yeah.
here's some things you may need to watch out for so you don't crash. And if I can fill in this hole and fill in this hole, you get a little bit further, then hey man,
Wow.
this is and so it's empowerment, it's authenticity, it's giving them a place to fail and not and be able to pick themselves up. Because I
Mm.
think a lot of, I mean, myself included, I get really excited about an idea or something, and I will run with it. And then, like Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan till they get hit in the mouth.
Come on. Yep.
And it's that
Yep.
hit in the mouth moment where you gotta, ding, ding, ding. The bell's got to ring. You got to go over to your corner, and you need people in there to say, hey, like, man, you're doing good. Wipe the brow off. Let's patch up the cut. Put some more
Yeah.
Vaseline, and let's get you back out there.
Yeah. No, that's good, brother. Yeah, I was. That's funny. We are really in alignment because I was thinking the same thing. Like, come on, hit that Mike Tyson on him, because that's exactly it. Whether these older generations coming out of the Great Depression or whatever is, they're like, dude, act wisely, be safe. And because they've been punched in the mouth, because they had that plan, right, and they got hit in the mouth, all they can recall is why I lost these teeth in the front.
Right.
You know,
Right.
instead of, like you said, get back to your corner. Let's find those pivots. You zigged when you should have zagged. Like let's come with that game plan. And so, speaking of that kind of direction that your corner can provide, how important are systems? Because some people, I believe what they're talking about when they say that millennials kind of run out there are irresponsible, is they believe that there isn't a system or a plan in place. And sometimes that's right, sometimes not right. But how important is having that system?
Systems are crucial to an organization's success, for the simple fact that systems create behaviors and give boundaries.
Yeah.
And so if you have, and a system is simply just a set of behaviors for a certain organization. And I think too, like, even the word system can be off-putting.
Yeah.
We need you to work into this system. It's like, I don't know if I want to do that.
Drink
but if
what
you say,
Kool-Aid?
yeah, right. But if you say, hey, here's some standards that being a part of this place means that you adhere to these. Well, then people get a choice. And so all a system is a stated, written, reaffirmed, and enforced set of behaviors. And so it's critically important, because if without systems, your people won't know where to go or what to do in a situation or whatever. So yeah, systems are incredibly important, and you need to fight really hard for them to be simple and not complex.
That's good. That's
Because
good.
I
So,
think, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, can a system be developed unintentionally?
Oh, absolutely. Then you're getting it, Mike. Then you're getting into culture.
Come on.
So culture
Come
and
on.
systems are, so your culture is a reflection of your systems. And culture is anything that is created or tolerated.
Yeah.
And so if you have a product, a service, if you have a team that you're leading, if you have, like with the couriers and they got a bunch of drivers, well, if you allow, just for that example, if you say, okay, hey, I want to give you an hour for lunch every single day from 11 to 12, that would be part of the culture. That'd be the system. That's the parameters. Well, if you have a log or somehow to see that one of your drivers is there 11:05, 5 minutes after, 15 minutes after, taking longer breaks, whatever, and you don't address it, then you as the leader become the problem.
Come on.
And so it's our culture or things that, if you don't have anything set, you will have a system. It is the collective attitude, behavior, and operating standards of a place. And so as a business leader, it's better to set it and then have to say, okay, we're gonna shift this, or we need to adjust this, because you may be listening here and going, crap, like, I don't have this in place. Put something down and allow it to be the principle of the first pancake. Get something, get feedback, and then make it better over time. Take imperfect action now to set a standard, a system, a culture for your organization, and you'll be much better than if you don't have anything.
Wow. That was beautiful right there, brother. That was beautiful. Because what you touched on is, I think, key for any and every organization. there's some people are going to look at this and say, that's exactly right. That's exactly what we're doing. That's what makes us a great company. And like you said, there's others that are like, oh, snap. You know, like I haven't gotten my handbook out, and my handbook kind of talks about, and it's like, no, you have a
Right.
culture, you have a system, whether you like it or not, whether you,
Right.
so you might as well come back and let's make this thing intentional. And what that really looks like to me is focus, right? How do we refocus our team if we have to refocus, or how
Right.
if we're just starting this thing and we're starting to hire people on and we're kind of starting to build this office environment? How do we fight that shiny object syndrome of I'm gonna go do this? But instead, I'm going to narrow in on my team. I'm going to begin to focus. How do we do that? How do we get that focus?
I think what we were talking about earlier is it needs to be clear, it needs to be simple, it needs to be effective. And so you could, because a lot of companies start with a vision and values and all of these statements, but if you go to the person at the lowest, the furthest away, and go, hey, what's our mission? What's our vision? And if they aren't able to just rattle that stuff off, it may be an indicator that there needs to be some refocus. And two, you have to be CROs. You got to be the chief reminding officer of your place, of your culture. And if you see anything, you have to have the confidence in what was created for you to enforce it. Even there's times like we as a family have a family culture. So we have a list of statements of things that we are and things that we're not. And my wife, myself, there'll be times where we're doing something that is outside our culture, and it will be a gentle redirect of, hey, man, remember that's not what we do, because we are, one of our things is we are focused.
There you go.
And so was it like, hey, you seem like you've been spending a lot of time doing X, Y, and Z, but you said you needed to get this done. Hey, you know what? You're right. And I think that's the same way in business. It's the same thing in ministry. It's the same thing with any team, is having the confidence to know, man, we put a good thing in place and it's the good thing for us right now. And we're just going to enforce it. And if there needs to be a shift or a pivot or a clarification, or maybe we need to take this one and go further into that, then give yourself the permission to do that. And I think what's scary and what keeps a lot of people from starting is they feel like once it's set forever.
Right.
Well, that's not true. Like Pastor Craig did a leadership podcast not long ago where he talked about when it's right to be wrong. And he talked about how there'd be times in his life where he said, we are doing this, and put a stake in the ground. And that's what every leader should do about the next thing they're passionate about. Because you got to get people fired up. You got to get people like, this is the thing. We're charging the hill. We're painting our face blue, and we are Braveheart running into battle. And then, I mean, just within what is happening in the world today, in a matter of 10 weeks, the entire world had to shift.
Yeah.
And so there were things that leaders said, we will never do this. Well, you're doing it now. We will always be 8 to 5. Now you not.
Right.
And so it's okay. And that was so liberating a few months back when I heard that. It's okay to be wrong if it's going to the next right thing.
Come on. Boy, that's beautiful right there. And that reminds me of, I mean, I have 2 kids with another one on the way, which at any moment that's going to happen.
Right.
And, we watched Frozen 2, and that right there, when she said, do the next right thing, that, I was like, wow. They're speaking over my 6-year-old's head, but that came right to me. I'll receive that. My man, well, dude, this has been awesome. And you guys may be like, dude, this dude is ridiculous. I need to get in touch with him. So is there anything, or what would be an offer that you have for this audience through Lead Teams Better? What can you offer us, brother?
Yeah, so I am in the works right now of creating team masterminds. And something I've been really excited about doing is going in and working with culture and vision and mindset. And because we know when the leader gets better, everybody gets better.
That's
And
it.
so, and really, if you're in a team, one person getting better isn't as effective as if it was a whole team committed to
Mm,
walking through a process. And what I've kind of found that's been successful is I really felt this need initially to have this cookie cutter like type of deal. And really, I want to have conversations with people. So if people reach out, I want to hear your needs. I want to hear your pain points. I want to hear what it is, but I would love to offer consultation strategy calls just to see if I could help and be of service to what your business, and your company is doing. And so you could go to leadteamsbetter.com. There's an application there. You could book a call, and I would love to have the conversation with anybody and see if I can be of service.
that's awesome. So would that be the best way? I know with social media and everything, is going to that website, leadteamsbetter.com, the absolute best way to get in touch with you?
So you could do that, or Kyle J. Sullivan on Instagram, Kyle John Sullivan on Facebook, and I'm active on all of those. You can
Awesome.
also find me on LinkedIn. I'm a newbie to LinkedIn, but I'm really finding that it's like a sophisticated Facebook, and I really
There
like
you
it.
go. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, guys, all that information is going to be in our show notes. So, if you're interested in getting in touch with my man Kyle and jumping in, becoming better, leading your teams better, be sure to go down into those show notes and click on those links and get in touch with them. Now, Kyle, there's one question that I always ask that is never on any sort of flow sheet or anything, of course. And it takes me back to the early 2000s when the first Dark Knight came out. And at the end, he's Two-Face is whatever, and he's just running. Batman is running. There's dogs, it's dark, there's cops, they're searching for him, and he's about to go off the grid. Now, if this were you, right, let's say no dogs or police chase you or anything, but you had to go off the grid for whatever reason, what would be one last hoorah, one last, encouragement to the people who hear your voice? What would that be before you went off the grid?
Man, I love that question. I would say it's my definition of success. So my definition of success is getting to the end of my life and having as few what ifs as possible.
Wow. Wow. Self-explanatory, man. Wow. That's crazy because just then you just hit me because like they say, there's so many regrets in the graveyard, right? Guys, if you're watching this thing, we don't know when our time is up. I mean, Rona has changed life as we know it. We're about to walk into a brand new normal. Walk into this next season of your life with no what ifs. Walk into this thing. If you're going to get off the grid, understand, like Kyle said, go without what ifs. No regrets, guys. Kyle, man, thank you so much for your time, for your passion, brother. What I want to communicate through this platform and through this podcast is just straight up value from people who care about people. And that's who you are, brother. I love your
Awesome.
heart. And thank you so much for what you do, man.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, man. This was great.
Yeah, we might have to have you back on, brother, because there were so many nuggets in there.
Come on, let's do it.
All right, man. Well, you all have a great rest of your day. We love you guys. We'll talk soon.
Peace.
Wow. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. There was just so many different nuggets. I hope that you heard just even one thing that can launch you into this next upcoming week, whether it's business, whether it's your personal life, your marriage. There are so many things that Kyle said in this episode. You're going to have to listen to that one again. I'm going to have to go back and watch this one because this dude was just on fire. Again, all of his contact information will be in the show notes, so be sure to go down there, connect with that guy. Kyle is just an amazing individual, an amazing friend. Like I said, almost 8 years ago, he taught me to start going for no. And that's what I've been doing now 8 years later. And I hope that there's just something in this episode that gives you so much value that clicked. That clicked, right? So, speaking of click, one more time, guys. If you found value in this episode, please go out down there and hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. I love you guys for everything that you do. Remember, this is Speak Audibly. You have a voice. Let it be heard. You want to speak your heart, your truth. Contact me. Reach out to Speak Audibly. We would love to put you on the platform or the podcast or a book